But really, now it was the tiki that dominated the visual landscape of Polynesia Americana. This had to do with air travel opening in Hawaii and Hawaii becoming a state in the late 50s. And so not only restaurants and bars, but whole hotels and motels used the theme when Hawaii came to Tampa. This was an amazing place in Tampa that I wish there would be more documentation about. I have this brochure and there are some postcards, but no great photos. So there were hotels like some that not only used the theme, but also architecturally they built these huts, like the Kontiki in Phoenix, the Aquatiki and Daytona Beach. And then he pulled out this stack of menus of restaurants that he had worked on, and I was just blown away by the graphics, the fonts and the tiki renderings and stuff. And I said, somebody has to make a book about it.
Yeah.
And then nobody did, and then 3 years later I decided it had to be me.
You were a smart man.
So yeah, I had no idea, I would have never guessed that this would, lead to all this.
Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands of tiki mugs. There's now, really hundreds more of tiki mugs out there than there were ever during the heyday of all the aspects. I love, as I followed the revival, how every one of the other aspects got picked up. Like now people are making the lamps again. Then people started making new swizzle sticks and stuff. It's just really cool and rewarding. Yes.
Where would you put the revival on the map? What was the one event or the one era?
My book?
Your book, yeah.
Well, no, seriously. I mean, there was, a tiki underground during the 90s, especially in LA, where I worked with Otto on publishing Tiki News, and there was this fanzine, like one of those punk fanzines, basically. And then through Tiki News, other people found it in record stores in other cities, like James Teitelbaum in Chicago, and then we kind of connected, but that was before the internet. So there was, we knew there were these small groups of tiki files in some of the American cities, but it was very self-contained scene. And I had tried to get the book published from 1992 on, and I had offers from these guys from a publishing place called Research, from these, underground publishers, but I didn't want it to stay in the same small circle of people. Now, American publishers apparently weren't getting it, because at the time also, a lot of publishers were still in New York. New York was sort of the center of publishing, and they never had as much tiki. And so I waited, and then Taschen came along, and through pure, luck, I knew the guy that had renovated Taschen's Chemistry House, and I gave it to him, and he came by, and he looked at all my stuff, and I ended up being published by a German publisher, but who did what I wanted. It was, full color, affordable price, and available over the whole world, and that's really what kicked the Tiki revival into gear, because before that it was very contained to insiders.
Kind of the military, post World War II.
Yeah,
Tiki
but definitely it was. I think it was opened by a veteran, so it had
Yeah,
that.
he was an Army Air Force pilot.
Yeah, it had that connection to the Pacific War theater.
So did Bahuka.
Yes, Boca, and on the East Coast, a lot of places did get opened by the veterans. Although that whole angle of, it's a little overplayed by the media that it was, it was all about the veterans returning from the Pacific. The fact was that a lot of veterans that I talked to, didn't want to talk about it because of their horrific experiences, because, so many thousands of their comrades got shot to bits. So it wasn't all paradise for them. The lucky ones, like James Michener, they got to stay behind the lines and, really experience the tropical life on these islands and stuff. And then he wrote about it, and then got, all the hardships fell by the wayside and got really romanticized. And everybody knew all the songs from Bahi, from South Pacific, and the musical was made into a movie, and that definitely had a large